everyone. This is Santiago Vásquez.
And I'm Martin Cervantes.
And welcome to the DOTTE POD.
Where communication truly matters.
And we have been saying this for quite a while. Diplomacy, communication, conversation. If you find yourself in a heated argument with someone,
don't punch him in the face.
There's always a little bit of a lack of knowledge, wisdom on the part of the person that you might be arguing with, or it could be yourself. And today we have a very special day, like we always do. But today is, to me, it's so important that we have women, because women are the ones that incubate us. Without them, of course, that is life with us men, but women,
they help us to keep our levels.
That's right,
where they need to be. So we're pleased to have a very special female here with us, law enforcement, state trooper, female trooper Tiff. Welcome
to the DOTTE POD.
Thank you.
What a great honor! Another amazing women, powerful women. I love it.
And I will be in my best behavior. Okay, I will.
Did you even have a driver's license?
She didn't ask me for it, so I don't have to show it, right?
Okay. Well, we like to start like this. We would like to ask our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves, a little bit about their cultural background, if it's possible, possibly where you grew up, and what inspired you to become a trooper.
Okay. I am a Navy brat. So I was born in San Diego. Both my parents were in the Navy.
West Coast, yay.
But then Navy, we found the other side of the U.S. and then lived in Orlando. My mom was actually from Shawnee, and after she got out of the Navy, moved back here. So I have lived most of my life here in Kansas. So I've been in Kansas since I was in the 5th grade. I'm from a small town south of Topeka, Linden. Highway 75 runs straight through it. Very small town. No stoplights.
Is everybody there?
I graduated with 50 people in my class. My sister was in the class before, and she had 32 in hers. So very small.
Oh.
Yes. But I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. I've known since I was at least in the 4th grade. I remember a career day at school and making a paper hat, like the police officer's cap, the style that most PDs wear. My favorite movie as a kid growing up was Silence of the Lambs. As demented as that is for probably a small child.
Some fava beans for you.
I wanted to be Agent Starling. I wanted to be in there investigating things and finding things. My parents always made fun or picked at me and said I was always the police of this, the police of that. I remembered the little details that no one else remembered and things like that. I've always had an interest in it. I went to K-State and got my bachelor's degree in sociology. Had an emphasis in criminology. And then when I was getting ready to graduate, I was looking at jobs, and I was looking at the FBI, but I wasn't old enough and didn't have enough experience. They required you to be 24, have 3 years law enforcement experience, and I was neither. So I started looking at other opportunities. I didn't want to work for a police department. I didn't want to deal with the petty calls, the barking dog complaints, him put his trash out too early. I didn't want to work for the sheriff's department. I didn't want to work in a jail. The confinements of your city limits and your county lines. So I looked at the Kansas Highway Patrol, all that it had to offer, the freedom is the most important thing to me, and having a lot more to go drive. I like to drive fast cars. So yeah, I've been with the Kansas Highway Patrol for 14 years now.
14 years. Well, thank you.
Well, yeah.
For your service, and also thanks to your parents for their service to our country.
Thank you.
That's so important. And
So you wanted to be law enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming you love to drive.
I do.
Because a lot of people don't like to drive,
I know.
including police officers. They're like, oh, hell, I don't want to drive. I'll be a passenger when they're with two. So can they move you around the state, or do you have to be in a certain area? Or can they just say, okay, well, Trooper Tiff, now you're going to Wichita?
No. So since we are a statewide agency, we do have that assigned duty station from the get-go. You can move throughout the state if you put in a Make-A-Wish or a hardship transfer. The expenses of those moves are on you. But say if I'm here in Kansas City and I put in for a transfer or a promotion to Garden City, all the way in southwest Kansas, and I get that job, then the patrol will pay to move me down there. So that's the only way that I would move about, if I choose to pay for a move myself and get granted it, or if I put in for a promotion or
the
transfer.
one gigantic difference with highway patrol and the local PD. Let's say that I'm driving a district car and I call for a backup. Whether this backup is a non-emergency call. The unit that I need might be just around the block. In your case, the unit might be miles upon miles away.
So that depends on where you work, where your closest shift partner is actually a deputy. Especially in Western Kansas, there aren't police stations there. There's sheriff's departments. So a trooper's shift partner might actually be a deputy.
Okay.
So the troopers out in the West, they have different radios than us. Here in Kansas City, I'm not concerned if it's not a trooper showing up, because if I call for help, no matter how bad or not, I know that there's always going to be a PD or an SO close by. So if it's not a trooper, there's still somebody.
I have a question that has always been in the back of my mind. I'm driving downtown KCK. You happen to be driving, going to pick up lunch or something. I go flying past you, doing 20 miles, extra 20 miles on the street. Can you pull me over?
Absolutely.
Mr. C.
Well, I just want to be on the same
Mr.
side, because
C.
then I will slow down.
I will pull you over, write you a ticket, and take it to jail.
There are a lot of people who don't understand that. They say, but you work for the highway patrol. You're only supposed to work on the highways. Yes, I work for the highway patrol, but I am a state trooper, and these city streets run through the state.
Yes.
Okay, now,
I stop.
thank you for clarifying that.
City streets, county roads, wherever we have take-home cars, my car drives off of the highway. So.
Okay, and and a lot of people have that misconception that, oh, you can't pull me over because you're a state trooper, you're on the highways only. And that was one of my things. I've never really asked anybody, but now that I have you here, it's like, can you pull me over? So now, yes, I will slow down now.
Yes.
Are your speedometers calibrated? How does it work? Or do you have a radar in the front of the car, a radar in the back of the car? Or do you just pace the person, and based on the fact that you're pacing the person, you figure, okay, you're going too fast?
We are stopwatch trained. I can't tell you the last time I've ever used a stopwatch, but I am radar certified. I have a radar in the front and the rear. A lot of people don't know about that rear one.
I found out the hard way.
And I am also LiDAR trained. Those are the ones that you usually see when someone's an officer sitting on an overpass, and then there's a whole line of cars. It's a LiDAR lane, and that's when, so it is a LiDAR gun. It's pointed specifically at one vehicle, and it tells you, that's what that car is going. Point at that one, that's what that one's doing.
People are of the belief that when you point that radar, if 5 cars are going by, you are actually clocking all these cars at the same time, and you just happened to get me, but it wasn't me. It was the guy in front of me.
Okay. So a lot of times when we're checking speed, there is a visual of it. So I sent you a picture. I made a stop on my way up here. I stopped.
We have a question about that.
Okay. So the person was coming up behind me, and so I can see that they're visibly passing the other cars that are behind me and then closing in on me where I have a constant speed. So if that's my visual, and then I can confirm, this is how fast I'm going. There's no way that they should be closing in on me like this if they're doing the speed limit. Okay, so then my radar is just a confirmation of yes, they are.
Based on that, we are saying, and based on the fact that sometimes people think that because you're a trooper, you can now write me a ticket because I'm in the city or I happen to be in the county. Did you find a lot of provocateurs out there? Like
No.
this guy?
I don't think of it like that. I think of it just as a lot of ignorance.
Okay.
But ignorance is not bliss when it comes to the law. So
See, ignorance of the law doesn't justify anyone
I
for
know.
breaking the law, and that includes you, Mr.
But
Singh.
sometimes we have to play the cards, right?
Oh my Lord! Please, please.
Now, we wanted to ask you, I don't know if you can tell us, was this on 635 or I-70? Because
neither. I was at 435 and 95th Street.
Okay.
So as you come around 435 westbound at K10, the speed limit 65, and I had her at 82 coming up behind me.
That's what we were wondering where you were, because we saw the picture and all that. Is like, where is this at?
No,
Okay.
I got her stopped just south of 95th Street.
So let's say someone is just doing 5 over the speed limit. Would you just like let them go, or just pull behind them so they can slow down, or do you say, hey, pull over?
So anything over the speed limit is speeding. Okay, but each law enforcement officer does have a threshold, and each may be different. There are some who are more lenient, myself, and some who are more strict. But we are given the ability to determine what we write for and what we don't. Okay, there are only 2 statutes that say that we shall arrest or issue a notice to appear, and speed is not one of them. That's why I have the ability to decide if I'm going to write somebody a warning or a citation for their speed.
What if I'm going over 90 miles per hour on the highway? I've heard, I've never been in that situation. Well, no, I haven't.
Never been caught in that situation.
That you can actually, besides pulling someone over, you can take them to jail and impound their car?
So people talk about that a lot when they see our stops when we post somebody at over 100. A lot of people ask about, that's reckless, they should go to jail, stuff like that. I'm not sure how it is in Wyandotte County. I know in Johnson County, reckless is not just speed. You have to have other things that make it. So usually it's unsafe lane changes, following too closely, things like that go along. Speed by itself, just hammered down, nobody else out there, does not make it reckless. Okay, so there's other things that would go into that. And the statute may have changed from years past or even other places, but I have written speeding tickets well over 100 and have never written up for reckless.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. What are some of the craziest excuses that you have ever heard?
Crazy.
Like, or funny that you might go, oh my God. Like Mr. C, one day he got pulled over and he said, officer, look at me. I'm such a cherub, such a good looking guy. I should
Well, I don't have to say that.
Oh,
you just see it. I don't have to say it.
Well, I've definitely had I have to poop.
Oh.
I've had, my basement is flooding. I've had, my significant other is locked out.
Yeah, all kinds of.
Let me write you up a ticket so you can go right away here.
Okay, so Super Tiff, tell us what you do at the present time for Overton, enforcing the law. Tell us what you do for the Kansas Highway Patrol.
My daily in and out job is a public resource officer and a public information officer. So that means I teach safety programs at mostly high schools and elementary schools, and sometimes at businesses. And then I handle media relations here in the Kansas City Metro. So anytime we have a major event or even major campaigns like You Drink, You Drive, You Lose, Click It or Take It, anytime the media wants to do any interviews or things like that, I'm the one that they go to for those.
I know you also teach parents or parents-to-be how to lock their car seats, right?
Yes, I am a child passenger safety instructor. I've been a technician since 2008, so since I came along.
Have you found a lot of people that don't know how to buckle up their car seats?
I think there's a lot of laziness mostly, and there's a lot of ignorance. We are very much in a someone else do it for me time, where people are used to just having someone else do something for them. But when someone makes an appointment with me to help with their car seats, I tell them, you need to read the instructions for the car seat manual, you need to read your vehicle
But that's
manual.
a big problem, because us men don't like to read instructions.
We
just like to put it all together. Oh, I have some 20-something pieces that are missing.
Then you
Or
can watch
extra.
a YouTube video. But really a lot of them are very simple, but people just don't want to try. They just want someone else to do it for them, and I'm not that person. I will help you with any questions you have with it. I will show you how to, because it does you no good for me to do it, because then you never know how to do it when it needs to go in a grandma's car, or you wreck your car and it needs to go in another car. So they need to learn.
I was recently outside the state of Kansas visiting family members in the East Coast, and they were kind of like surprised when I told them, at least the people in the city where I was, more people in the city, when I told them that in the state of Kansas, in some agricultural towns, by the time you're 14, you can apply for
Farm permit.
permit, and they're like, "What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, man. Listen, we don't have any more buffaloes roaming, because that's the mindset.
Yeah.
We don't have any more buffaloes roaming
But
the
some of
streets
us
Kansas."
in our community, especially our culture, we drive before that, way before that. I learned to drive when I was 10 years old.
I remember
Wow.
living in California, so that was at least until first grade. I used to sit on my mom's lap and drive into our apartment complex. And then I remember driving down our block. We would get to the end, and then she would let us, drive with her down the block to the house. And she's sitting there. We're not like freelance, But,
Well, my dad had a 71 Ford pickup truck. I remember that clearly. And I couldn't see over the steering wheel, so it was between the steering wheel and the dashboard.
Yeah.
That was just, and I was sitting on a pillow.
Yeah.
It's,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
But you can't do that anymore.
No, but there's also a lot of young people who aren't interested in driving now. I'd rather get an Uber. I'd rather mom take me.
That is so funny that you mentioned that, because my youngest son, who was 18, was telling me that, and in particular with women. And I said, wait a second. My mom, who is alive to this day, never learned how to drive. Of course, I grew up in a foreign country, so did my mom. And I always told my daughter, as soon as you can learn how to drive, and
That meant freedom.
freedom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Driving is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to depend on a man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you, of course, if the man is responsible, good looking like Mr. C or me, that's all different story. But I see it as freedom. So I don't know if it is that society in the last, I don't know how many years, has drastically changed, and people are getting more anxious or developing anxiety
Yeah.
about driving.
I've come across people on the interstate and going really slow, and I'll stop them, and I'm scared to drive on the interstate. Then you better get off.
Well,
Well, and it can also be a good thing, you know, taking Uber, because some of us might like to have a couple of drinks.
Yes.
So you're safe. You don't have to drive.
That's planning your outing.
Yeah.
Where someone is just, I'd rather not drive because I don't want to pay for car insurance. I don't want to deal with if somebody wrecks my stuff.
Here
Or
in the state of Kansas, it's tough. If you are in a place like New York City, where I was just
public
there.
transportation.
Public transportation is top of the line, is everywhere. You can live there for the rest of your life and never have to drive
Yes.
a car.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And of course, people drive like demons there, like they're possessed. Seriously. And I mean, I'm telling you. And, you know, like I have a lot of friends who are truck drivers. You know, they drive the 18-wheelers, and some of them work for some of the top-of-the-line companies, and their motors are governed, and they only go like, what, 65 miles per hour or something like that? On the other hand, there are some other people that
They don't like that.
they're not like that, and it scares me when I'm driving. I mean, I'm like, man, slow down, please.
Yeah, we live in a different world now. Now, I know that you were also, or still are, or you were a recruiter.
Yes.
So what do you do then? Do you go to different places, high schools, businesses?
Yeah.
Maybe even other law enforcement agencies?
Yeah. So before I came back into the PRO spot, I was the agency recruiter the last 2.5 years. Specific for our agency recruiter, it's the only one. So I covered the entire state of Kansas.
Oh, wow. One person.
Yes. Plus, I would travel to a lot of our surrounding states. I would go to Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. The end of my recruiting career, I went to Georgia and Indiana.
Wow.
And Kentucky, or not Kentucky, sorry, Tennessee. It's getting our brand out there. We do a lot of things with other state agencies. As we have a working relationship with other state agencies in general. But everybody knows that we need help in law enforcement. And some people like to poke fun or say that we're poaching. Not everybody stays in their hometown. Not everybody stays in their home state. So if I go to Nebraska, I might run into somebody who's from Kansas. And I might be in Nebraska and might run into somebody who's like, hey, I've been thinking about going there, or, you know, I've got some friends who moved there, and, you know, what do you have to offer if I move to Kansas? So I don't consider it poaching. I am putting out an opportunity for anybody and everybody to know about. It's providing information. If you never know, then you never know.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was at the Yankee Stadium. I went to see a ball game, and I came across this gentleman who was from Shawnee, Kansas, and worked for the old Colgate.
Colgate on 18th.
Yeah, it used to be there and then no longer there. I mean, what are the chances?
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Small world.
What a small world. I was like, what? Are you serious? Yeah. I retired from there. I was like, oh my God, what a small world.
Yeah, when I was in Savannah, Georgia, one of the kids in the class, his dad was stationed at Fort Riley. And, you know, so.
So what are the requirements to become a trooper?
So right now we have 2 hiring classes. Class 63 is a very historical class because it is our first lateral class.
Oh.
We are taking, you have to have 3 years of service. You have to be in good standing with the Kansas Seacoast, and you have to currently be certified. So that's a big thing. It's a condensed class. It's 10 weeks opposed to our
When you
normal.
say lateral, that means other police agencies,
Yes.
sheriff's department, and things
Yes.
like that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's quite amazing. So you have that class going on right now, that condensed class.
It's the hiring process.
The hiring process.
Started on September 1st.
Okay, so what is the age requirement? Is there like a height requirement? Because
No,
I'm shrinking right now and I'm getting older. So.
there used to be a height to weight comparison. I think it
Ah.
was maybe in the 70s, 80s that you had to have that height to weight comparison, but there is not. We've got guys who are 6'3", 6'4", and we've hired someone who was like 5 foot. So
Because the image that you always had of a trooper was somebody that was
yes,
like, built.
Just like me,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh my goodness, Lord, forgive him. So always built, and anytime they came out of the car, they had that amazing hat.
Our hats.
They
yes.
still do.
Yes.
Those
You
hats
still
are
have to wear your
perfect.
hat when you come out of the car?
Yes.
See?
Yes, our campaign hat.
See?
So is there an age limit?
There is not a maximum age, there is a minimum. You have to be 21 to be a gun toter. So if you want to be a uniform trooper with us, then you have to be 21. A lot of PDs and SOs will take you on at 18 because you can work in a jail where you can do prisoner transport, and those you don't carry a gun. So all of us, we carry guns, so you have to be 21.
Now, what is the salary of a trooper? First year trooper.
So a brand new baby trooper, I think would make about 43, 44 a year.
And what are the hours?
We work 8-hour shifts. It is a rotating schedule of days and evenings. We do not have a midnight shift. Because we don't have a midnight shift doesn't mean there aren't any. Actually, the Turnpike is the only Kansas Highway Patrol division of us that has a true midnight shift. So,
What is the required education?
have to have a high school diploma or GED.
Now, when you think about $43,000,
Yeah.
that's the salary. And I know for a fact that there were times when the troopers were making much less than the city municipal police officers. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is very much correct.
And when you're out there to serve and protect, and when a high level of honor and integrity and professionalism is demanded, and when you are putting your life in the line for somebody else that you don't even know, that you're willing to protect, not just because you're getting paid, because they're paying you, it's because that is the honorable thing to do. When you look at it, it's very, very small salary. So the next time you see a police officer out there, or a trooper, or a deputy, say thanks.
Well, and I believe that they should make a lot more money, because you can really put a price on someone's life. And I know, being a law enforcement officer, you become a target.
You do. So like you said, working for the police department or sheriff's department, you can likely make substantially more. But when I was looking at going into law enforcement, I didn't plan on becoming a millionaire working in law enforcement. I knew that I wasn't going to be six figures, you know. I wanted something
Wait a
that I
second.
was going to love to do.
Isn't like the movies like Bruce Willis
No.
and what's his name and all the police officers that blow up everything and they never had to write a report?
No, this isn't like Bad Boys. No, the only thing like Bad Boys is when I'm sitting in my car going, "Pusa." But
So, if you don't know the numbers, that's fine. What are the percentages of female to man, and also, did you get a lot of ex-military personnel applying for the
so,
state troop?
yeah, female to male is a very large gap. There are a little over 500 troopers across the state, and there is 16 females.
Wow.
And
Wow.
two are in the academy right now. Most of us are one at a time in a class. A few years ago, we had the most. We had 4 go through at a time. But there's very few of us. They are all only white females. We have no minority females. We only have maybe 10, maybe less than 10 of Hispanic, of Black, of some type of Asian descent. But
My experience tells me that because I was in the training academy at one time, and I know that when I was in the academy, one of our former chief of police advocated for recruiting minorities, and we advocated, and let's get the local kids to apply for the police department, and it was extremely difficult.
it is.
And like you said, we have to go out and attempt to recruit people from other areas.
So my hardest part with trying to recruit minorities was that I found that anytime I got any type of interest in law enforcement from someone that was a minority, they felt more inclined to stay with their PD, stay with their SO, because they felt that it would be more of giving back to their specific community. Where with us, we don't really have that close of a tie to a community because we're so statewide. Anytime there's events, I jump in with KCK's event. I jump in with Wyandotte County SO's event. It's not mine because I don't have a tie to Wyandotte County or KCK. So
A lot of the responses that I got when I attempted to recruit minority kids for young people for the police department was like, I have a college degree.
yeah.
Why do I want to be a police officer for? I'd rather go to the federal government. That was normally the answer that I will get. And then I was like,
And also a lot of times in our culture, the police is the enemy. You don't want to be there because you're going to be viewed as the enemy within your family, within your culture.
Sometimes.
Because of the things that we do,
Sometimes that happens.
I thought that when I wasn't old enough and didn't have enough experience to join the FBI, and then I looked at the Kansas Highway Patrol, I thought that I would use the patrol as a stepping stone to gain that experience.
That happens a lot.
We do. We have a lot of people who gain that experience and get that time on and then go to something federal. So there's nothing wrong with that. And we are highly sought after. We have lots of people who have gone to KBI or the DEA or the FBI.
FBI.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you name it, they have. That has happened in KCK, and I'm sure that has happened in other agencies throughout the whole entire United States. And it takes money to train people, an incredible amount of money. And I always say that the budgets of I'm perhaps I'm wrong, but I'm talking from experience. The budget of any law enforcement agency is this. And what do I mean by that? Enough money to provide training and enough money to provide the salaries. And that training, unfortunately, tends to be very minimalistic at times. You know, so, but okay, so tell us, where is the training academy for the Kansas Highway Patrol?
The Kansas Highway Patrol Training Academy is in Salina, Kansas. It's right smack dab in the middle. It's central Kansas. That way, so when I have in-service, when I have to continue my education to keep certified, that is where we all meet centrally. So it's the closest point for everybody to go. That way, it's not in Kansas City. That way, it's an all-day drive for somebody in Garden City. So everybody meets in the middle.
Okay, so tell us, how do you manage your personal life, because you have a rotating shift, right?
Well, I don't.
Oh, you don't. You're one of the lucky ones.
But I have had a rotating shift. The road troopers, they do have a rotating shift. I do reap the benefits of a Monday through Friday.
Because many troopers are married, or even if they're not married, they have kids, and it's like bouncing back and forth.
Yes.
Which can be tough.
So I have an 8-year-old son. Shortly after I had him, I came into this role in 2014. So I had him January of 13 and then became the PIO in December of 14. So I wasn't on the road for very much longer having a small child. But it was actually harder for me to adjust to the Monday through Friday because I missed going out and doing things on Tuesday and Wednesday when everyone else was at work, when those were my days off. Yeah, I was like, gosh, I just wanted to go to the store and there's like everybody here, you know. But it is hard. I think a lot of people count on family, childcare. It seems like typically law enforcement couples are usually either other law enforcement officers, medical field nurses, or school teachers.
Yes.
That's usually what the relationships consist of.
That is so true.
But it works because you're a school teacher. You got school. Anytime school's out, then you're out. So you got someone to watch the kids. Medical field, they usually work rotating shifts also. So you might not ever see your significant other, but you'll kind of bounce off of each other.
What is, I'm sure you have a plethora of experiences, but what is one of the greatest satisfaction? I mean, to me, I look at you and I look at a heroine, like this woman. I mean, you are one of, you said 16 female troopers that we have in the whole entire state.
When I came on, I was the 7th.
The 7th. Oh my God. Yeah. So, it's funny because I have only known 2 in my life.
Yeah.
You were the second one.
Candace.
Yes.
Did you know that Candace and I grew up together? She was a year older than me.
No kidding.
We went to school together.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She joined the patrol a year before me. I actually applied to be in the class that she graduated from, and I didn't make it. And then I applied again, and I was going to be a January class, and they froze my class. So then I was a July class. So
before I go on with that other question I have in my head about the satisfactions and experiences, how difficult is the physical agility test for women? Or in general, for everybody?
It is difficult because a lot of people downplay it because we don't have minimums. They think, okay, so there's no minimums, and they don't prepare for it. And we've had ambulances called on a 1.5-mile run. Yes.
1.5 miles?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So
that's more than a local police department demands, 1.5 mile run, because they got
do
away.
sprints?
They do the sprint where you are inside a car and you are running through obstacles. And I can tell you this with great certainty, that in 2 occasions I was there when someone had a broken ankle and a kneecap busted. Horrible. Or people falling or twisting their legs. And
So we do, it is hard. We do a magazine change, trigger pull. It's an obstacle course in the gym from a seated position, belted in. So it's simulated like you're in a car, but it's all inside in the gym. It's graded on a point system of how you do that. You run up the stairs, you do a dummy knockdown, come back down the stairs, and then there's a big numbered board that someone is calling out numbers after you've just done this run and you're trying to hit the numbers in the,
do you have the one where you have to run and ID the suspect?
No,
so we have that.
When we got OC sprayed, we had to, so we got OC sprayed, then we had to protect our gun and then handcuff a suspect and then actually make sure that we had visual target and were shooting our sim rounds. Yeah.
I hate the OC spray.
I know, me too. I'd rather be tased than OC
I
sprayed.
I think throughout my whole entire career, the first time I volunteered.
Oh.
Yeah, because I wanted to see what it was like, and then I got this six different times.
I won't
But
volunteer.
the last time I was OC sprayed, I was embarrassed. I was totally embarrassed.
Did we like hyperventilating, crying?
Yes. Yes, because I went to be certified as an instructor in some small town in Oklahoma, and I'm asthmatic.
Yeah.
And I had to, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No,
It's
no,
bad.
it's bad. It is bad.
Yeah.
And but okay, so tell us about some of what is like the greatest personal satisfaction. I mean, to me, I see you as a not just because you're a woman. To me, you're a superhero. You're this. I'm sorry, but it's like an anomaly. You ladies are anomalies.
Yeah.
So, what is like some of the greatest, or one of the greatest, or some of the greatest satisfactions that you have experienced as a trooper?
I'm very tender-hearted and I'm very empathetic. And a lot of times, my emotions are not easily hidden, and sometimes, especially crashes that I physically witness right then and there, not showing up to after the fact. Just talking to people and like you were talking about how women are different than men in law enforcement, tend to be very nurturing, very mothering. Don't make me mad, or I'll also be very, very much mama bear. But I think having that type of personality, it's very rewarding that someone can come to me because they feel safe that I am, the trooper there, but also that I don't appear cold to their emotions, how they're experiencing the situation. Sometimes it's hard to connect with people, and we do try to depersonalize ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
My very first night, we had a fatality crash, and I'd never seen a dead person before, and the woman who was dead was my mom's age, and I was really scared at how it would make me feel. But
yeah, believe me.
Well, I mean, you're human. You have feelings, emotions. You can't hide those,
A lot of people don't understand that way.
yeah.
So how do you decompress? How do you keep yourself in shape? And when I say in shape, I'm talking about physically, mentally, and spiritually.
I talk about how I feel. I don't bottle things up. Like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So my family, my close friends, they recognize very easily. Typically, if I'm not smiling, something's probably wrong. So I think that I'm pretty good with communicating. We have our own agency has a peer support team. Usually if we've experienced something traumatic, they call around, you know, to whoever was on the scene, things like that. Or if even, you know, like a shift partner recognizes something seems off, then they reach out to them and say, hey, somebody needs to probably step in and say something, do something. I don't look the most in shape, but I do go out and run. My fiance, he does powerlifting stuff, and I do things with him and strongman competition stuff.
Stop flexing your muscles. I saw that. I saw that. So powerlifting competitions.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's prior LEO. He worked for Mission and Shawnee before he got out in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So, he recognizes too, you know.
2018. So, was that prior to Chief Sam Larson?
He was there around a command staff change up.
Okay.
He was a DT instructor. He was on their honor guard.
I think Sam Larson right now is the chief of police there. Okay, so for those of you that are going to be seeing this phenomenal, I think it's a phenomenal interview. Not because of us, but because of her. PTSD, stress, depression, and suicide are very common among law enforcement officers. And as a matter of fact, other than disease or illnesses, most police officers die by suicide. So just keep that in mind when you see a police officer. You see somebody dead for the first time, and you have to attend to that person or their family members. You don't forget that. You never forget it. You know, you see not just adults, but young people.
Yeah.
It affects your life.
I'm very grateful that I've never seen a child.
Wow.
But my month back from maternity leave, I worked a fatality, and the deceased was a brand new young mother. And as I approached her, I saw her nursing pads on the ground next to her. And it was very hard.
Wow. Wow. I mean,
no, I'm sorry. So, tell. I know that one of the things that we did with she's a sergeant now, but she is, right?
Candace, no, she is my lieutenant.
She's your lieutenant now.
Yeah, we don't have a sergeant.
Sergeants, I'm sorry. I know one of the deals that she did with us and the high school kids, because I was an SRO also. Yeah. She will put them in this little box.
Condenser?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got in it. And let me tell you something.
Did you break it back?
Oh my God, I felt that everywhere. It ran on my brain. I think I lost the few gray cells I have left in me. God.
Yeah.
So how important it is for every driver to wear their seatbelt.
Every passenger, every occupant to wear their seatbelt. There's 3 crashes in a crash. So when your vehicle hits an object, then the outside of your body hits the steering wheel, the windshield, person sitting next to you, and then your organs inside your body. Newton's law of motion.
Yes.
An object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by an outside object.
Yep.
So everything is going to keep going.
Yes.
People don't realize, I'm just going to the store down here. Speed limit's only 35, but that guy who ran the stop sign was going 65. And you didn't have your seatbelt on. You get T-boned. Just that change in direction, that's what tears your heart, tears your liver and your spleen. You might not even be mangled on the outside, but those tiny thin organs inside your body, they were going this way, and all of a sudden everything shifted this way, and that's how stuff gets torn.
I know we can be here for a long time, and I know you have a place to go.
Yeah.
No,
But
you're fine.
for the new drivers, for the teens that are, or the preteens that are trying, some of them are getting excited. I want to get behind the wheel as soon as I can. Is it advisable? And the reason I'm asking you this is because we did it with our youngest son, my wife and I. Is it advisable for juveniles to take a driver's ed class?
I highly recommend it. It was part of my curriculum in high school. I got 3 quarters of an hour of credit towards my diploma. A lot of times high schools aren't providing it with the curriculum anymore.
I don't think they are anymore. Majority
and
of schools.
it is very expensive to go
Yes.
search for a class outside. But one, it gives a lot of experience. The way you learned how to drive might not be the same for how a kid is driving. And sometimes parents and kids don't do well when it comes to learning things. And we don't, I say we as in like you're my parent, but sometimes it's hard for us to learn when we feel like we're being barked at by our parent. No, get off the brake. No, stop, turn here.
That's
You
what we
know?
do.
I was horrible about that year ago.
And I imagine I'd be the exact same way. But it's a great opportunity for them to experience things. I remember a lot from driver's ed, but there's also a driving program that comes here to the Metro every year, every summer. It's called Brakes. It's be responsible and keep everyone safe. Doug Herbert, who was a race car driver, had 2 young boys who were out driving too fast, driving a little crazy, went head on with another vehicle, and it killed the both of them. So him being a professional driver, how did he lose his 2 young boys to driving recklessly? So he went to the boys' school and was trying to think of some program. How can we teach kids how to safely drive? What can we do? The kids came up with the name for it, Brakes. So in this driving program, there are other race car drivers, stunt drivers, troopers. We are out there, we're teaching kids. There's 5 different types of scenarios that you don't learn how to get out of until it's happening on the interstate and everyone else is there with you. So when you have an off-road experience, have you ever failed to maintain your lane, or even a new construction when there's that lip, when they put new pavement and you feel it boom, like that. So a lot of times people panic and they'll yank the wheel, and then they say, oh crap, and they yanked it too far, and yank it back this way. Oh crap, I've gone too far. And then it turns into this big, and then that's when they shoot across the median, things like that. A lot of that stuff is, don't panic. Everything should just be as easy as you went off, come right back up. So there's also, the driving programs for kids to get into. The parents get to be a part of that driving program as well, because they don't know either. And sometimes, in reality, the crashes that I work are the parents, not the kids. They're the ones out on the highways.
Mr. C, I'm sorry, I'm overwhelming you. Now, for that young person who is 21, who either has a high school diploma or a GED, or has a college degree, graduated from KU,
Wherever.
What would you tell them? Why should they consider, if they're thinking about law enforcement, why should they consider the Kansas Highway Patrol? In particular, women and minority, because women are also minority, but in particular, African Americans or Hispanics or Asians for that matter, or Native Americans?
I personally still believe law enforcement to be a very reputable career. It is not just a job, it's something that I've been at for 14 years. I love what I do. I love the freedom. I love that I have a take-home car and I decide if I want to go left or if I want to go right out of my driveway. I don't have to report to an office and be told where to go, what to do today. I'm going to say, I'm going to work on seatbelt enforcement today. And even though I tell myself this, I'm going to say, ooh, but I saw this.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing tells me what to do. You know, I'm out there, I'm given a gun and a badge to make decisions on my own. Okay? So I love the freedom to be able to do that. Not too many agencies can you do that. I might not be the highest paid, but I enjoy what I do. I enjoy going to do my job. And we might not make a lot of money right now, but maybe long term we would have better opportunities, better future in general. You know, things change and you just kind of got to roll with it as things get sour sometimes.
Yeah, I know we can be here for another hour and a half. I know you have things to do, you have your own priorities right now, but can you give us a last advice, you know, something that you have been wanting to tell the drivers out there? Any type of advice, anything that you want us to know, including myself, about driving, about our highways, about interacting with other people while driving. I know there's a lot of road rage and people getting mad and shooting at each other.
We have a very big me mentality right now, and people don't think about everyone else that's on the road. It's me, what I have to do, where I'm going, you're in my way. And it is not like that at all. You risk your life as well as everyone else's life by speeding, by following too closely, by making those unsafe lane changes, by texting and driving. Big thing, why do we always see people texting and driving like this? Because they don't want to be seen, because they know that what they're doing is wrong. They don't want to be ridiculed by their peers, okay? So you know that what you're doing is wrong, so put your phones down, keep them out of sight, out of mind. Even though people have their cell phones on vibrate, they hear it in their bag or in the seat next to them, and they still go, because it has their attention, you know? We try and say that we are good multitaskers, but anytime you add something to the original task at hand, that quality diminishes. So if you are driving, okay.
10 and 2.
No, 9 and 3, 8 and 4. We don't see. That's why you can't teach your kids.
Oh, I haven't. I did.
Used to be.
Yes. Okay.
It used to be
so
10 and 2.
We're driving, and then we start eating, and I'm talking like a sloppy Joe, and you got it all down in front of you, and then you start texting, and now your knee is on the wheel. And then you're having a conversation with your passenger.
Let me put some makeup too, by the way.
Yes. So you are physically, visually, and cognitively distracted, okay? Where has your driving gone? Completely out the window, all right? So we need to get back to focusing on specifically driving, all right? I think besides speed, following too closely is a big thing in here. Put some distance between you guys. A lot of our crashes happen because people are following too closely, and then they're like skirt, and they've already ran into the person in front of them. Sorry for my sound effects.
No, it was good. It was perfect.
But yeah, put some distance between you, and that's how people end up in other cars' back seats all the time because they're following way too close. The faster you're going, the more time it takes to get stopped. So you need to put more distance.
We're gonna have to invite you to come
Yes.
back, give us more information if you
Yes.
accept. And we want to thank you for your time,
Yes.
for being here, for
And
your service.
Thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank you.
grateful.
Thank you.
So grateful. Let's give a great round of applause to Trooper Tiff. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
You, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Remember, Wyandotte County, you're not alone, okay? Look forward, don't look back, especially when you're driving. Stay
No, look
positive.
in your mirror because I'm coming behind you and I need you
No,
to
well, don't speed so you won't worry about her. So, hey, stay positive, okay? Till next time.